Hello, and welcome to the Blue Pills edition of my vlog. Biggie is in the background of me. His actual name's Barney, but I call him Biggie because I am in my living room today, so they're hanging out on my couch. What I want to talk about today is more related to my own story with my mental health issues. And the thing I kind of want to touch about today is something that I came across in my readings for school. I just started my last semester at Aurora University. I'll be getting my bachelor's in marketing in May. And I was reading about like what if ethics and all that stuff. And I kind of already knew about it. It's more an elective class, taking all my core classes, and I'm just taking a bunch of electives just to finish. And I came across it's talking about what is right and what is wrong. And it got me back to thinking a lot of how I used to think before I got put on medication and before I actually went to a counseling. Is one of the things with my depression is I used to have a lot of black and white thinking, and it's very common with depression. Is I had a very, very hard time seeing the gray in situations. I really thought something was very true or very false, very right or very wrong. I had a very hard time with the middle ground. And that's how it was like my whole life. And I had so many conflicting emotions when it came to situations, and a very hard time dealing with them and processing them. For example, I would conflict with myself because I would think things like, oh my God, I did something really wrong. And it could be something silly like, I kept the car out late. And instead of thinking, like, this is just something a normal kid does, I would beat myself up in my head. And I would dwell on these things for weeks and weeks at a time, to the point it would eat me up inside. And like, my mom wouldn't be mad at me, my stepdad wouldn't care, but these things would eat at me. And everything I did like that, small things would build and build and build, to the point I would have almost like a breakdown. And I know it seems silly in retrospect, but this is what happens when you have depression. This is one of the characteristics of it. Now, as I've gotten older and seen a counselor, this was one of the main things I focused on when I actually decided to see a counselor in my mid-20s, and it took me a very long time to get over it, is I would talk to her constantly about this. And I would have to tell her these situations, and she would tell me, like, there is a gray level. And I'm like, but they did this to me, and this is how I feel about it. And I'm like, I'm just done with it. And she's like, well, there is this middle section. You have to kind of work with people. And I would just want to cut people off and not deal with it, because I'm like, no, they wronged me. Peace out. Get out of my life. And I'd close myself off from a lot of situations and friendships because I did not know how to deal with those conflicting emotions that would happen. And after going through all that counseling, I finally have learned to talk to people when stuff is bothering me. Tell them that this is how I'm feeling, this is how it's going, like, and work things out. And it's actually worked out well for me because I've never had a lot of really close friends because I've been very guarded, mostly because of that and some other issues, which future blog post would be for that. But I do have a best friend now that I can talk to her that way. She's an amazing person, and I can talk to her that way. And, you know, like all friendships, they change and grow over the years. And notice, like, weird coloring. Sorry, I have the TV on in front of me. But she's kind of in the same way, too. We have an open relationship. And, you know, things change and everything, but I'm glad that we're the same type of people in that regards, that even if there is a break in that, that we can still get back together and be like, I screwed up, things happen, life happens, but, at the end of the day, you mean more to me than the stupid way I was feeling in my head and everything. So I'm glad that I have that person in my life. Also, it's just really hard to deal with that. And I do know that's also part of growing up with alcoholic parents as well, that you do get tons of sort of black and white thinking too from growing up with those type of parents. I am very proud of my mother. I will give a shout out to her. She, in a few weeks, she's been sober 10 years. It's amazing, amazing feat. I'll actually do a blog post at her, and if she's feeling brave, she can totally join me. So you guys might get to see her. She's like the strongest person I've ever met. Like, she's little. It's kind of funny because you can't see me, but I'm actually like 6'1", and she's 5'4", but she's mighty, but she's like the strongest person, and I'm actually kind of scared of her at times because she's strong as hell. But back to what I was getting at. I can go off in tangents sometimes. My mom was an alcoholic, and so was my stepfather, and so was my father. So I grew up with a lot of black and white thinking because you have these people in your life that are dealing with their own addiction and own problems. And that's part of the reason that they didn't notice anything was going on with me either. And it was just really hard growing up with that type of situation and not knowing how to process the whole gray area. It's really odd. And I know this was like a little shorter post than I wanted to make, but I just wanted to put that out there, that if you are struggling with thinking in black and white, the best thing you can do, and it's worked for me, and this is what my counselor gave me advice on, and it was the main thing that helped me get over that black and white thinking, is I would write the situation out. I would be like, this is what's going on in my life. These are all the positives to that situation. These are all the negatives to the situation. This is what's making me think it's black. This is what's making me think it's white. But what is truly like the gray area? And even if I want to dismiss it and think it's not valid, it is valid. And then I would actually have those discussions with my mom and my husband, and they would help me process it. I don't need to do that anymore. But when you're getting out of that cycle of thinking, that's what really did help with that situation. So I would recommend that to anyone doing that. And I just keep trying, keep moving forward every day with things like that. And if you don't want to go on medication, because I understand the stigma of people not wanting to go on medication, and I'll talk about that in my next vlog about myself, about my struggle of going on medication myself. But just see a counselor and just talk to someone. It will make a world of difference. It did make the world of difference for me at first. So just keep moving forward, keep living each day, and like I said, just always, if you need to, find someone to talk to. Peace out. Have a great night.